Welcome to a new episode of the Impact Hub podcast, the number one podcast for young African entrepreneurs. My name is Ephraim Kalubi, and it's a pleasure to have you here today. In today's episode, I will be having a conversation with Sébastien Bruyr. Sébastien is the current Chief Commercial Officer at Odoo. Odoo is a leading, multiple award-winning, multinational Belgian software company. They specialize in building and providing business management applications for small, medium, and large companies. The company was founded in 2002 by its current CEO Fabien Pincayers and has today over 7 million users worldwide, ranging from single users account to large enterprises of over 300,000 users. Today, the company has over 3,200 employees in 15 plus different offices and countries all over the globe. Odoo is definitely among the fastest growing all-round business management softwares out there at the moment. And I'll have the pleasure of having an extensive conversation with Sébastien, exploring various topics from business management, sales, marketing, leadership, and much more. All right, so before getting started, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on Instagram, and share with more people. This is the least you can do to help support this podcast and allow me to reach more people. That would be really appreciated. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
When it comes to small businesses, people want to get initiated, start a small thing. What do you think, when you observe, is the most recurrent mistake that, regardless of the industry, that hinder them from growing?
What I see is that people tend to overthink things in general. Keep it simple is the key. It's a matter of focus. So I think that there are two things. Keep it simple. That's one thing in everything that you do. And second, don't be too shy. I think you have to aim for really high.
You have so many people under you, different scenarios, different people, different structures,
culture.
Exactly. So what are some core fundamental principles that you work by in order to keep things together, but also to be able to continue to grow and scale up and manage all the diversity of challenges that come to you every day?
We say to people, you can fail. It's okay. Fail as many times as you want.
Yes.
Just make sure that it's not the same subject.
Exactly.
I want people to evolve.
There's a lot of trial and error. You don't get it right from the first time, as you say.
And that's the thing as well. We always try, and that has been the strategy of Odoo since years. We're trying things. So it means that we do not do long studies about things. We try. If it works, perfect. If it doesn't, we kill it, we restart.
What is Odoo's philosophy when it comes to basically its approach to sales, marketing, and most importantly, like the aspect of brand awareness?
Our marketing is focusing on the product, right? You know, if you look at the common points between Tesla and Odoo, both are managed by an engineer.
Okay. Having technical people as leaders in companies kind of drives the company in a different direction because the focus is product oriented. So that connection, I hadn't made it, and it makes sense. What do you think will be the biggest challenges to be faced now ahead for Odoo to actually now properly conquer? First, let's talk at an African scale level in terms of conquering the market and conquering the market share. And do you think it will be more an issue of brand awareness or market maturity?
I think the potential is massive. The thing is, Africa has a bit the same complexity than Europe. I think 2 years ago, we're trying to sell in Africa from Belgium mainly. And we're like, yeah, it's difficult, people cannot always pay easily, etc. And then when we came in, we realized that we were trying to sell with credit cards, which is actually not really used in Africa.
Market, M-Pesa.
M-Pesa, exactly. So first thing, we have to get closer to understand the needs. And step by step, that it's the case in Kenya, but probably in other countries in Africa, it would be even different. So we have to localize. That's one thing. When that is done, then okay, we can start build the brand and keep on pushing. Now, the maturity of the market is important. That's why we came to Kenya first. But for sure, our plan is to serve the rest of Africa from Kenya to start with.
Sébastien Bruyr, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. It was quite something that was unplanned because I just learned that you landed in the office You basically arrived, when did you?
Last weekend, actually.
Last weekend.
Yeah.
So basically you just came for a week.
Yeah.
And off you go. Yeah. And I knew when I heard that actually Sébastien was coming that I did want to have some sort of an interaction and a session with him to just get to understand a little bit of basically everything about the individual, because anytime you have the opportunity to learn something new and to be able to gather knowledge from someone who has already seen so much and been through the industry and understands different aspects of how things work, it's always a great privilege. So I just want to jump right in and ask, what is the hardest or most challenging part about your job today?
But we are in a company that is changing really fast.
Yeah.
So I joined the company, I think, around 11 years ago.
Yep.
It was a tiny company of 50 people, maybe a little bit more. Today we are 3,200 worldwide. So basically, you feel that in a couple of years, you're working in a different company every year, right?
Yeah.
And we have great ambitions. The ambitions of Odoo is really to become one of the market leader in terms of ERP, in terms of business suite of application. And so obviously we have to keep on pushing all the time.
Yeah.
So it means that every year we have to kind of take a step back to see what we did during the last couple of months. Where do we stand and where we want to go? And so that's really the thing. At the same time, we're scaling quite heavily. And so it's also keeping the same vibes, keeping the same willingness to grow and to improve, because that's also the thing.
Yeah.
We are still at the level where we improve everything every year. I give that image already, but we feel sometimes that we like a plane without any engine, and step by step we are putting the engine, and then we are putting extra piece
as you are flying.
and that's exactly what it is actually to be managing a company like Odoo.
Yeah.
It's really new stuff every day.
Yeah.
And of course a lot of energy.
Okay, that's great, and I can imagine it's really not an easy task, especially that the company somehow reinvents itself every year, and there are new trends in the industry, and you have to adjust to the new trends and always be on the lookout to learn more, to adjust to the market, which is quite interesting. I did a little bit of digging on a few sources on LinkedIn, etc., and I can see that before actually getting into sales, you first started in the banking sector, right?
Yeah,
which is quite interesting. There's no really kind of a direct correlation, unless maybe you've been able to find a way to connect both. So I'd just like to know like how and when did that transition happen, and how did you end up just in the world of sales and marketing from there?
So basically, I've been opportunistic. I finished my study in terms of marketing and management.
Oh, you did marketing?
I did marketing and management.
Okay.
It was the bachelor. And then I was about to start a master degree. And then I got a couple of offers from companies that were actually looking for new employees.
Yeah.
I got the offer from KBC, which is the bank that I worked for.
Yeah.
And I said, I will do the exercise to go for an interview, because I didn't know really what they were doing. I said, okay, it's always good to have that experience, right?
Indeed.
And when I went, I discovered that actually they have one of the best traineeship that you can have.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, basically I have two choices. Either I go for a master degree, or I kind of go for a job where I do a kind of master degree at the same time.
Yeah, because you learn.
Exactly. And it was really a traineeship. So I had classes, I had really exams to pass, etc. And so that's why I did I took the decision to go for that, because I knew that then I would cover a lot of different topics. It was really about finance, about analysis, etc. And it was really interesting. Yeah. So that's how I jumped into that sector. Though I knew that I wanted to be in the IT sector since day one. That was my goal. So my plan was to stay for a couple of years in the banking industry, and then to look for a job in the IT sector, especially in the startup. That was really my two main, I would say, criteria.
Okay, so it was kind of already in the radar, and you kind of knew already like where you want to put yourself to orient yourself.
Indeed, that was the goal. Now, obviously, things doesn't always happen as you wish, but at least if you try and if you can, but then it's brilliant. That's what happened to me. After 2 years in the bank, I had the opportunity to join Odoo, which was still open ERP at the time. And obviously it was a massive risk.
Yes.
I was in the bank. Bank are quite secure in terms of job. Jumping into a startup that was really barely doing, I think, 4 million euros at that time in terms of turnover.
Okay.
It was, as I said, around in sales we were 12, if I remember well.
That was back in like 2012.
Yeah, I think 12 actually.
2012, like some 2005 and 2012. That's when you got in.
Yeah, indeed.
This is quite some time back, some time ago.
Indeed.
So basically, you've been there and you got started. After that, okay. So from the experience that you had at the bank, did it help you in some way with the new role?
Yeah, of course. I mean, at the bank, you learn how to behave with customers.
Yeah.
You learn how to communicate. You learn as well how to do some analysis, use of numbers, which is always necessary, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, when I joined Odoo, I knew how to react. I was already a salesperson, right?
Yes.
Obviously, it was completely different. I had to learn how software works, how Odoo works. Yeah. I had to learn as well the functional aspect, and then to be able to resell it, because at that moment we're not famous at all. You have to realize that at that time we're still fully open source, meaning that we're selling partnerships of a free solution to companies in the world that were then distributing that solution
without making any sort of margin, which is quite interesting.
Indeed.
Which is quite interesting. So looking at Odoo's very humble beginning, you started basically with, I heard like Fabien started in his room and got started and started to rank up and kind of scale the thing. But I just want to know what kind of sustained the growth over the year. I can imagine that the road leading up to where Odoo is today has not necessarily been like a smooth ride, right? And there's been like ups and downs. But what would you think is like the constant input that has to be put in order to sustain the company?
But the thing is, as you say, Fabien launched that during his university period. And so he did it with a big dream, actually, to really go and start to become a market leader. So indeed, it started humble, but with massive dreams to really go and compete with the big guys.
Yes.
And then the main focus was really to provide the best product on the market.
Yes.
And that was always the main target, being the best with the best technology. And I think that that's really the result of everything. Because obviously during those years, it has been extremely complex. We've been really close to bankruptcy for, I think, more than 10 years.
Wow.
And it's only since 2016, I think, that things started to really explode. Even before, it was growing, but it was extremely difficult to be break even even. Now we are cash positive, we are making revenue. And that's also thanks to the different pivot that we did in the business model. We started as a service company, basically. We were mainly focusing on specific needs for specific companies. That was mainly Fabien alone with a couple of employees. Then in 2008, there's the first switch in terms of business, where basically we became open ERP. Right. And that's there when we went from
the first transition.
First transition from a service company to a software editor. So logic is we go for the mass market. And then we had the biggest one, probably the biggest pivot, which was in 2014, 15, if I remember well, where we switched from being an open source to an open core. And that's the game changer, because thanks to that, we're not just reselling maintenance contracts that were extremely complex to keep for the long period. We're also selling licenses. Because we're not only an open source, we had also extra services like upgrades, maintenance, hosting that was part of the package, and extra features as well. Since then, we've been really successful, and we've been growing at let's say a stable growth rate of around 60% a year.
One of the things that I wondered is because in the beginning, one of the things that I wondered is, don't you think maybe the aspect of being kind of a free service in the beginning served you in terms of maybe like getting rich in the market and getting known?
Yeah, for sure. I think the open source things is probably the most powerful one. We're always saying the same. It has been the best decision because thanks to that, we've been an international player while we're really small. And so obviously it has been extremely positive. Now the reality is that we are still open source today, right? We still have a community edition, and even the enterprise version is still 80% actually the same version than the community. So it's actually not two different versions, one, but the enterprise one is on top of the rest.
Just added the layer.
Indeed. And the thing is, since now we are, let's say, a bit more successful, our contribution to the open source has never been as big. Simply because when you have a company of 3,300 people. But obviously there, the contribution is massive on the open source.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, it's massive. And the reason why we have that many leads as well, and we are able just to work through inbound marketing is also thanks to that. So no, it has been,
it's a good thing.
It has been complex to handle.
Yeah.
It has been complex to find the right business model. But of course, it's one of the best things we did.
Yeah. It's smart because at the beginning, it might seem counterintuitive, right? People say, what are you doing? Offering literally everything on a platter, but you don't understand that the best marketing, and I think I heard you say that the best marketing is just a great product.
Indeed.
And when you give the people the opportunity to test it out, actually to try it out, and to give a couple of features already, they can have access to it. When you propose something that involves a monetary aspect of it, they won't hesitate because they've already tried the product.
Yeah, they know what they're buying.
That's just amazing. So, now there was the transition and the growth of the company. Looking up, I can see that June last year, I think, if you maybe recall, it might have been a great month for Odoo because of the 150 million USD investment from General Atlantic Equity.
Yeah.
So, how did that come about? And
I think we always have, it's a wrong information. Because basically we have raised twice money since the beginning of the story of Odoo.
Okay.
The first one was in 2008, we raised 3 million.
Okay.
Then we raised the second time in 2014, an extra 7 million. So total, Odoo has raised 10 million.
Okay.
Basically, the investment of General Atlantic is simply a secondary exit. Meaning that we have existing investors that have decided to get out of the company and sell the shares. So basically, the investment doesn't bring anything in terms of value to the company. Indeed, it gives some visibility.
Yeah,
but that's it.
Exactly.
But that's it.
It gets talked about. So maybe it was, let's say it was a marketing boost in a way.
Indeed. Yeah, for sure. I mean, being seen by the corporates, etc., is important, obviously. So it's a marketing tool, but that's it. There's no extra cash in the company. It doesn't change anything in terms of day-to-day business.
But the way it's framed in the media, it's framed completely different. Now I get a clarity on that. Because when I was reading out, I just wanted to get to know a little bit more that. What is Odoo's philosophy when it comes to basically its approach to sales, marketing, and most importantly, like the aspect of brand awareness? Like those three things are really even like passion subjects to me. That's kind of something that I did in uni. Anything that has to do with marketing, sales, branding, the strategy, your approach to the market, it's always very fascinating. So I just like to understand, what do you think makes it stand out? Like, is there maybe something that you did different that you feel like is something that got Odoo to stand out and that most other people don't do?
No, I think that indeed we don't do the normal marketing. First of all, we've started, I think we're getting famous for the billboards that we do all over the world, actually, not in every country, but we try. We're really opportunists.
Okay.
Meaning that our marketing is focusing on the product, right? We have part of the marketing that is really designed to get leads.
Okay.
And then we have just the brand awareness. Obviously, we already talked about it. We are a small player in a way, if you compare us to companies like SAP or whatever that are the competitors. They basically spend around 7.5 billion a year in terms of marketing. So we cannot compete with that.
Exactly.
So we don't try to compete with that. We try to stand out through different actions. It goes from the car branding that we have, for instance, in Belgium.
Okay.
Or now we do it as well in the US, in Miami, San Francisco, and New York.
Visibility.
We do it in India as well. So we propose, in India it's a bit different. We propose to brand the cars of people that are willing to. And then we have, of course, a bunch of other things, which are mainly content management, because I think that the content is key. We need to translate as well all the content that we have for different regions, for different countries. We do as well now the podcast that we have in Belgium.
Yes.
We do as well the social networks, also with influencers, because we see that it's a different type of customer that you attract.
Yeah.
We do a lot of education as well. Education has been key, being open source.
So basically you go to universities and it's proposed to teach them about Odoo.
Yeah, it's actually, we have a free program where basically they can get material from us. That's one thing. Second, they can also benefit from the database. So test database for the students, that way they can see. And we have also another program that we launched since a year now in Belgium, which is actually the Lab Odoo. Lab Odoo, you have to imagine big trucks.
Yeah. And
those trucks are going around in the schools. And in there, you have a small organization set up where they can go from warehouse management to point of sale to CRM, and they play basically. So the truck is like a truck that you can open. I think 60 square meters.
Whoa, that's big.
Yeah, so it opened up, and there they can learn really what it is to use a software like Odoo. So
that's creative.
marketing wise, we do a lot of things. What we don't do is sponsorship, is that kind of thing where I believe that it's not really worth it, because the brand's still not well known, and we still need to educate people around what we do. And again, the focus is always, okay, what we do, what's the product, and not really anything else, right?
Okay. I think it makes sense, and it's quite creative. So in the buses, you have small pods that represent different.
If you want to, you can go on the website, and if you just type Labodu on Google, I think you'll find it, and you will see some pictures of it. It's becoming quite big. We started in Belgium, obviously, because it's the headquarters. So we always try things from Belgium, and then we push that to the rest of the world. So it might come to the rest of the world soon.
That's great. I can't wait for it to come to Kenya. Even for the car branding and stuff. I want to ask a different question. It's not necessarily Odoo oriented, but it's based on the experience that you've had in the industry and the things that you've been able to see now. It's 10 plus years in the industry. When it comes to small businesses, people want to get initiated, start a small thing.
Yeah.
And maybe part of our audience, young, small, ambitious people want to get things started. What do you think, when you observe, is the most recurrent mistake that most people do at the very beginning stage of whatever structure they're trying to put in place, especially business, regardless of the industry? But what do you think are things that they don't necessarily do right that hinder them from growing? Because Odoo had different steps, and across the different phases, you managed to stay kind of resilient, and you've been able to grow. So maybe there's something that you can pick up from that, that maybe some people don't do, and that just kind of either keeps them in that small kind of stage for a company in terms of scale, or even actually leads them to die off.
Yeah, I think, what I see is that people tend to overthink things in general. Keep it simple is the key. And that's a rule that we have applied at Odoo a lot. It means that whenever we do something, we always try to keep it really simple. It's the same with the software itself. When, we have a weird situation. We have 3,300 people in the company that are all close to Odoo experts, right? And so when you have that, they all want to improve the software in a way or another.
Exactly.
They all want to push their ideas and it's not bad ideas, but it's a matter of focus. So I think that there are two things. Keep it simple. That's one thing in everything that you do. And second, don't be too shy. I think you have to aim for really high, if
reasonable goals.
Exactly. And that's basically what Fabien did when he launched Odoo. When he was in his room, he said, okay, I will go for an ERP solution, and then we'll go and compete with the big players that are already there since years. Most of the people were like, what are you? Most of the time we say, don't go for a large scope. We did an ERP. Don't go too international too fast. We went international straight with partners, etc. So I think that we need to dream big if we want to be successful, but don't overthink and keep it simple, because it has to be manageable long term.
Guys, two things. You keep it simple and you aim high. Keep it simple and aim high. 2 points that are very much, I think, crucial when you are in your process and basically getting started and trying to make things happen. And thanks for that point, honestly. Obviously, as the head of sales, you must have encountered various leadership and management challenges, obviously, because with a position like yours, you have so many people under you, different scenarios, different people, different structures,
culture.
Exactly. So I just want to know, what are some core fundamental principles that you work by, principles of leadership, principles of how you operate in order to keep things together and to maintain at least not only the order that is there, but also to be able to continue to grow and scale up and manage all the diversity of challenges that come to you every day.
The way we work at Odoo is that we always promote people internally. So it means that you need to grow in the company to become a manager. So obviously, it helps because culture is key. And if you want to make sure that we go in the right direction and we keep the same mission, you need to have people on board, right? So we spend a lot of time on the culture of the company and making sure that that our employees understand what's our mission. Our mission is simple. We want to help companies to be more efficient by providing the right tools and also by making sure that people like to use those tools. Because in the ERP world, a lot of time people will complain about the tools. So it's extremely important for us to get there. Yeah. So that's the mission. We share that mission a lot. Then we grow people and we always, as I said, promote people internally. It means as well that when we open up a new country or whatever, those people have been really growing since years in the company, and so they know exactly what we expect from them. And so basically, instead of having all the pressure on just one person, you spread it, and we give a lot of autonomy, of responsibility, not only to managers, also to our people in general. When you join the company, the first thing that we will say is, listen, guys, we're not here to take you by the hand. Of course, we're going to help you, but you have the autonomy to take action. And if you have some initiative to take, go ahead. We'll even push actually the initiative quite far, because we say to people, you can fail. It's okay. Fail as many times as you want. Just make sure that it's not the same subject. I want people to evolve. And so when you do that, the challenges are always there because when you scale, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult because, as I said, the plane is actually built at the same time as flying. So sometimes you have to step back and make sure that, we keep the right red line. But yet, that's how we do it. Making sure that we have the right people at the right place and with the right mission that is always aligned.
There's a lot of trial and error. You don't get it right from the first time, as you say.
And that's the thing as well. We always try, and that has been the strategy of Odoo since years. We're trying things. So it means that we do not do long studies about things. We try. If it works, perfect. If it doesn't, we kill it, we restart.
And it's efficient. It's efficient in terms of time. And it connects to what you've been saying. Don't overthink. Act. See the result. It doesn't work. Jump to the next one.
Indeed.
It works. Okay, we continue and we build up. That's really the mindset. And now in your position, I think you handle both the marketing and the sales aspect of things. I think those are two elements that are kind of like imbricated. But just a quick question, like, in terms of comparing basically a great marketer versus a great salesperson, do they share the same qualities, or are there some nuances between the two?
But you're right that both are really linked. And today, if I have defined marketing, to me, marketing is serving sales, right?
Yes.
Because basically, if the marketing is right, it will simplify the life of
salesperson.
So, but yet it's not because you're linked that you have to always go in the same direction. And depending on the cases, the marketing has to be really following his own vision as well. As I said, we have some campaigns that are really into lead management, which are really linked to sales. The others are more on brand awareness. So it's sometimes you see that the alignment's not 100%, but that's fine.
There are places where it merges and there are places where
exactly
specifically individual.
But indeed, what matters for me is that both are really aligned in terms of product. They need both to be really expert in the product and share the right message. They need to understand what's a core value of Odoo, what's a plus value of Odoo, and share that message around the market.
So far today, across the different marketing, I would say channels that are being used by Odoo, which one or which two or top three are the main one that generates the most leads, I would say?
The main one has always been the same. Every year in October, normally this year it would be November, we release the new version. Every single year when we release the new version, we have a hike of around 30 to 40% of new leads.
With Odoo experience.
Odoo experience. But it's the product. It's the release of the new product that brings that many leads. So, we always say that actually our main marketing is coming from R&D. What matters is the product. People are actually joining because they like the product, they like to see the new features, they see that, we can give extra value. So basically, during the full year, the R&D department is working on those new features. In October, it's the release, and boom, you see that, it's live, people want to test it, and we see this hike that will be stable for the rest of the year.
Sébastien, I don't know if it's a good sort of connection to make, but I see a lot of similarity, at least brand marketing wise, with Tesla. I don't know if you're familiar. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I don't know if you know the guy, but I'm a big fan of the guy. I mean, he achieved. I don't think he's like the way he operates and the things that he's been able to achieve. It's just crazy and very inspiring to me. But his company, let's say Tesla, the investment in marketing is quite minimal actually. And I was watching one of his interviews. It's basically the same structure. Like they focus on building a great product, and the product will market itself. Basically,
you know, if you look at the common points between Tesla and Odoo, both are managed by an engineer.
Okay.
So they are really focusing on product. If you listen to Elon Musk,
c'est vrai,
it has been always the main topic. Product. And it can be, if you look at what he did it with PayPal, he did it with Tesla, and now he does it with SpaceX.
I mean, Starlink,
Hyperloop. It's a matter of disruption. Obviously, Elon Musk disrupt already like 3 industries.
Yes,
probably a 4th one soon. So yeah, it's for sure quite inspiring.
No, I mean, it's definitely inspiring, and it works. It works. I remember him saying a quote is like, the worst mistake that most engineers do is developing a feature on a product that shouldn't even exist in the first place.
Indeed.
Which is quite an interesting approach. And also the point of having technical people as leaders in companies kind of drive the company in a different direction because the focus is product oriented. So that connection, I hadn't made it, and it makes sense. So when it comes to basically the aspect of marketing and branding of Odoo, obviously you're trying a few different channels. You mentioned brand marketing, etc. What can we expect in the next few years that we haven't seen before?
But today we are really growing, and for years we've been focusing on the SME market. Now what we see is that more and more, the mid-market and corporates are really interested by what we do. So I think that no one on the market succeed to actually no one tried actually to go from SME to the mid-market, so bottom up. And everyone failed to go from the top to the bottom, actually. If you look at SAP and Microsoft, they all tried to go from the big companies to the SME. They never really succeeded. So that's one thing that we can expect. And it means that you will change as well the marketing potentially as well, because you address the mid-market differently than the SME as well. Even though today we're not really focusing on one or another. We have a couple of things that we do for SME, like billboards with a free website, blah, blah. That's more like SME. But for the rest, again, it's a product marketing. And that's what we will keep on doing. So, but that will for sure change a couple of things. And indeed, with the mid-market becoming more and more important on the Odoo world, in the Odoo world, it will change something for sure.
So yesterday we had a talk. We have a problem with the microphone.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, yesterday I think, we had a talk and you mentioned something about the brand awareness and compared in terms of like percentage across the different places, different continents, in terms of basically the reach and the extent to which Odoo is known. I don't know if Africa was placed on the first place or among the 3 first. But in terms of brand awareness, basically Africa, I think you mentioned it ranks highest, if not in terms of market adoption and brand awareness. And I just wanted to know, so what do you think maybe are that's a positive sign. That shows that there's some potential. But what do you think will be like the biggest challenges to be faced now ahead for Odoo to actually now properly conquer? First, let's talk at an African scale level in terms of conquering the market and conquering the market share. And do you think it will be more an issue of brand awareness or market maturity? Maybe the market is not already mature enough to adopt the solutions, or maybe is it more a question of we just need to boost more and get more awareness around, or is it a mix of both?
I think the potential is massive. The thing is, Africa has a bit the same complexity than Europe.
Yeah,
there are a lot of countries, right? The thing is, in Europe as well, you have a nice market of, I think, 700 million people. So it's big. Africa is way bigger. But of course, when you go to a market like US, it's way easier. You have at once one language, one localization with 350 million people that are living there. So that's the complexity. I think that indeed we need to first have a good localization for every country. Basically, I think 2 years ago, we're trying to sell in Africa from Belgium mainly. And we're like, yeah, it's difficult, people cannot always pay easily, etc. And then when we came in, we realized that we were trying to sell to Africans with credit cards, which is actually not really used in Africa.
Market, M-Pesa,
M-Pesa, exactly. So first thing that
getting closer to
exactly, we have to get closer to understand the needs. And step by step, that it's the case in Kenya, but probably in other countries in Africa, it would be even different. So we have to localize. That's one thing. When that is done, then okay, we can start build a brand and keep on pushing. Second is obviously, the visibility. I think there's a visibility, an existing visibility, but we have to push that even further. Now, the maturity of the market is important. That's why we came to Kenya first. But for sure, our plan is to serve the rest of Africa from Kenya to start with. Later on, we might have extra offices in the rest of Africa, but for now, we want to centralize, because big challenge whenever you address a new market, which is not really a new market, but when you go local in a new market, is of course that you have to scale. And when you scale, you have new people that you have to train. And as we go quite fast, you've seen it, we went from 0 to 50 in a year time. We know that it will even accelerate next year. We need to be able to have the right people, the right talents. And that's the beauty of it. We have talent in the company, and we see that the potential is massive. So that would be the main, I would say, real challenge, making sure that we can really train people fast enough to actually absorb the market.
And consolidate the foundations first. It was like a strategic, when it comes to actually strategically choosing the localization of the headquarters when it comes to managing all the African projects. Why did you choose Kenya? Why not Ethiopia? Why not South Africa?
We for me, and excuse me if I'm wrong, but for me, South Africa is a different thing. We could open something there. It's a bit like in Europe, you have UK.
Yes,
UK is different. You see, it's really different. And for me, South Africa is the same. We're looking for a big market. Kenya is 50 million people, and so that's already something.
You have the numbers right.
You have also the maturity of the market, good universities as well that we can recruit. And so the goal is to start with one country. Then if we can address Tanzania from there, and then potentially the rest of Africa, that's perfect. From there. But that's really the main thing, having the right people, speaking the right language as well. That's also important. And the maturity of the market, it's key.
That's interesting. So the follow-up question was about something that's contextually similar to what I asked before. So I'll not ask it. But at the same time, I think maybe it's the same answer applies to it. We talked about at the African level in terms of expansion and integration and brand awareness. So also you mentioned that globally, in terms of the market share, we're not even at 1% yet.
Indeed.
Which is wild to think about. So in terms of the challenges, when it comes to at least reaching 1%, 2%, why not 5%? It's the same framework that applies, or there are new aspects to consider?
Yeah, of course. Today what we do is just making sure that we do our best, right? In terms of product, etc. Obviously, if you look at the different markets, you see that we start to have a couple of countries where we get to 1%, etc. But on the worldwide level, not at all.
Imagine.
And that's actually what is also really motivating. Because actually, we're just at the beginning.
There's everything yet to be done, right?
Exactly. If you look at the mountain, we're at the very beginning and at the very bottom of the mountain, and we still have to climb the mountain. And I think that the acceleration will go even faster now that we're becoming quite mature. We have quite a decent amount of people also to grow, and the ability and the experience to grow faster than ever.
That's great, because my follow-up question was also linked to that, but it's all interconnected. Like, what do you think is Odoo's biggest flaw at the moment? Or maybe what do you think is one thing that we still have to work on and to kind of better in terms of the company? Because it's good to only look at everything that's going great, but also when you self-assess, where do you think there is the most effort to be done?
But for me, it's always the same. I think that we're a product company. So if tomorrow you tell me, okay, you have to cut all the investment everywhere, but in one department, I will always say the same, product-wise. And not because the product is not good. I believe that our product is amazing. Now, amazing today doesn't mean amazing tomorrow. IT goes really fast. We see that there are a lot of new trends that are coming on the market. We need to adapt. We need to to follow, or sometimes to set the trends as well. So obviously, I think that we need to keep on improving the product all the time.
Yeah, I can see the new WhatsApp integration, etc.
Indeed,
quite interesting. It shows that dynamism you're talking about.
Again, you know where it's coming from. Simply
tell me about it.
You know, WhatsApp is just a tool that we're using a lot in Europe in general, just between friends, right? It's not a business tool. Now, our CEO Fabien left last year for 1 year in India. But in India, everything goes through WhatsApp, and I think it's a bit the same in Africa as well.
Yes,
business WhatsApp for business is everything, right?
Simpler.
It's the same in MENA, actually, in Middle East, sorry. So basically, he realized how critical it was. And so boom, in a couple of months, it was live. So that's how we think. Sometimes we're not, localized enough to see where we should invest. And that's how we find a way.
Yeah, but when I saw that, like, it confirms like the proactivity and the need to actually be able to move at the market space.
Yeah.
And I would just like to maybe ask you at a personal level, so far, what are you the most proud of as something you have achieved in Odoo?
I always answer the same thing to that because it's a reality. I believe that the thing that I like the most in my job is to see people evolve.
Okay.
And so basically, we've been opening lately 6 new offices. All the directors of those offices are guys that I worked with. So obviously,
that's
you
great.
see the evolution of people, and that's what I like the most because, I see how talented they are. And it's not thanks to me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I'm really happy because I see that people can evolve with the company and really be the future of the company as well. So that's the thing that I like the most.
That's great. And you're traveling back actually today or tomorrow?
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah, So basically, crazy schedule, but I managed to catch him at some point. We're just gonna go now, closing it up a little bit on a slightly lighter note with a few things. So I just want to ask you a few questions, just out of curiosity. So if you're not CCO at Odoo today, like what do you think you most likely be doing?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think I would be in the IT world for sure. Okay. Because it's really something that I like. I think that, I like to be in a sector and in an activity where you really have an impact on the market you're working on. And I think that IT is really something, it's a game changer, right? When you implement a solution in a company, boom, you see that there's straight an impact. So I think it would be still in the IT world. I don't really see myself somewhere else than in kind of sales, where basically, but we're always with a...
You're a hunter.
Always with an intellectual challenge.
Exactly.
That's what I like to do as well. It's not just like selling something.
Generic sales, this is the car, this is the phone buy.
Here's the discount, that's it. No, here we are trying to find solutions for the customers. So I would say that, still in IT and with a massive impact.
Great. I think that's what you just mentioned is the first thing that I also noticed. When I made the switch and got into the sales from this perspective, it's much more than just a transactional aspect.
Indeed.
It's something that involves you intellectually and pushes you to actually explore the solution, understand it before you even get to that. But this actually brings up a question, just random, not really on the script, but for you, a salesperson that's mostly very much strong technical wise, or a salesperson that's very good in terms of like social skills, technical skills versus social skills. Which one, if you had to pick one? I know the ideal answer is a little bit of both, but where does your bias falls?
If you really have to choose, but it's a difficult one. I think that obviously you need to have skills in sales to be able to really be successful. Now, I think that when we talk about teams in general, you build your team based on what you have. So if I have a team that's extremely sales, I'll probably recruit a lot of people that are more a bit consultant, I would say. Sorry. And so, it's like a football team. If you just have attack, it won't work, right? You need midfielders, you need defender. So it's a bit the same logic. When you build a team, your sales team, you have to think that way. Otherwise, you end up with a pack of lonely wolves, which doesn't work. And a lonely wolf all together, it doesn't work.
Yes, it's true. And makes sense. And other than work, what are some of the stuff that you just enjoy doing? Like hobbies and stuff that you're just into, aside from the word? I
used to play hockey, field hockey. So that I don't play anymore because now I have 3 kids, and so I spend a lot of time with my kids. I think that it's not a hobby; it's a life, but I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and another thing is because this is the section where I'm trying to get to know the person a little bit better. What motivates you? Everyone has a fire inside, something, an intrinsic motivation that gives them the courage to wake up in the morning and to go out there and conquer. What is it? What is that thing for you?
I'm lucky to be really passionate about what I do.
Okay.
Since day one, I really love the company I'm working for. So it's really something that I love. And to be honest, the thing that I like the most is a bit what I said earlier, is to see that when I go to a customer, I see that they're struggling with something. And then after a couple of months, we come back and we see that we basically fixed the issue. It's really having an impact.
Yes,
and, it's not always about like large companies. Sometimes I go to a shop and I realize that they're still like taking notes when they have to do the bill or something like that. And so basically what we do is simply trying to change that, making sure that they are able to go way faster. And by doing so, we'll limit basically their inefficiency and improve the efficiency. And that's really what I'm passionate about.
Seeing the direct change on what you're working on and seeing how it impacts positively.
Indeed.
That's beautiful. That's great. And 70, 150 years when you're not with us anymore, and neither am I. When you're gone, what is the one thing you really like to be mostly remembered about, as a human?
As a human,
yes.
But for me, I always say the same. I'm not working to live. I'm living to no, opposite. Sorry, it's the right opposite.
Where is it going?
Right opposite.
Yeah.
I'm really into. I want to enjoy, and obviously, I love what I do, etc. Yeah. But that's not the end of it, right? Yeah. So I think that I don't care whether remember me for something specific. I just want to make sure that if I'm not there anymore, people will say I was a nice guy, and he helped me for something, whatever, job or not. And probably also I want to be remembered as a good father. That's probably the most important topic.
That's great. That's great. That's great. We are also looking at that. It's coming. On my end, it's somewhere there on the horizon. But something else. Do you see yourself at Odoo for the next 10 years?
But that's the beauty of Odoo. We are growing that fast. We are still really at the beginning. So yes, I could see myself for still a long period of time, without any doubt.
Wow.
So I'm not saying it will be the case, but at least, I can see myself for a long period of time.
That's great. And now to kind of the last section, which is basically, I don't know if you're familiar with the rapid fire question. So it's basically, I would ask, okay, it sounds a bit silly, right? But I mean, we have to end on a light note, right? And it's just kind of a personality type of question where we get to just understand. So the answer has to be quick. And then I would basically ask why. So are you ready?
Go.
Okay, so if you're an animal, which animal will you be?
An eagle.
Why?
Because you can fly.
Because you can fly. Nice. If you had a superpower, which one would it be?
A what, sorry?
A super pouvoir. Superpower.
I think we'd be flying again.
Oh my God. So there's something about flying.
Yeah. Since always I wanted to be a pilot. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot, and it has been always strong.
Wanted to be an astronaut here. Okay. So it's just for there's no like another meaning behind it. It's just just there. Okay, what's your favorite TV show?
TV show.
Yeah. Don't say Shark Tank.
No. I like it though, but
I enjoy it as well.
TV show.
You're not really.
I'm not really a crazy TV
fan.
Watcher. I would say I watch a lot of movies.
Okay. What's your favorite movie or favorite director? Me, it's Christopher Nolan. Movie Inception.
Yeah. I mean, I like Spielberg as well. I like all those. Yeah.
Great. The top 3 influencers, like public personalities. For example, I have me in my list. Ray Dalio. I have Steve Jobs. I have quite a few. I wouldn't say 3, but the challenge is on you. Pick 3, and maybe reasons why people will inspire you.
I think I really liked. I mean, we talked about. It's not an inspiration. I'm just really impressed by what the guy did, Elon Musk. You know,
Of course, Elon Musk.
I'm impressed by the guy. I think disrupting all those industry at once. That's amazing. So I don't know. I hear also a lot of different things about him. So I'm just talking about the man as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Same here.
So then I think someone like Barack Obama.
Yes.
I think that the guy is just amazing. What he did was really unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely something that I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Number three,
I think it's more like I've been growing in an entrepreneur family as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing my father who has built his own business, and also, I mean, my mother always there to support, etc. And so I think that that's also a really good inspiration, because that's probably the reason why I'm here is also thanks to that. So it's also something that's extremely important.
Yeah, because what you exposed to early on defines the foundations of what you live by.
I've always seen my parents work a lot, both of them, you know, and so I've seen my father launching his company, taking a lot of risk, etc. And I think that has been a massive inspiration as well.
Yeah, it's such a distill. Sorry guys for switching in French, but sometimes you have to. But it distills into you, which is quite interesting. Okay, pick one. Passion or purpose?
Passion.
Why?
Because I think that, you know, purpose is super important as well. But when you do it with passion, it changes completely everything.
Oh, I mean, the answer is that the salesperson. Wow, okay. It's as if you rehearsed the answer or something. Okay. The top 3 books that you really have up there. Top 3.
Blitzscaling, I think, was really
by? I think I'll look it up and then
it's really interesting if you're into IT and into a growing company, because it explains why you should, at a certain level, leave some things on the side and just focus on scaling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was also really interested by the book, I don't remember the name, but I think it's the biography of the founder of Salesforce, Mark Benioff.
Okay.
It was also amazing, especially I think it's really related to me as well, because I see what they did. I see what has been done with Odoo as well. And I see also the parallel, right?
Okay.
Obviously, Salesforce is really high as well. But it was really interesting to see how they focused and how they've been also really, strong on those aspects.
Resilient.
Yeah.
Can you just kindly get back? I want to look them up as well. I'm a big... book book stealer.
I can share with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The third one.
And the third one, I mean, it's common, but I think everyone needs to read it. It's Why Ho What from Simon Sinek.
Yeah, Simon Sinek, a great guy, very thoughtful guy. I mean, great choices. Great choices. I haven't read that one by Simon Sinek, but thanks for the reference.
Yeah, you should, because it's really interesting. And if you don't have to read the book, at least watch the video.
Okay.
There's a 70 minutes video where he explains exactly the basic. Obviously, if you read the book, you will have more insight. But with that video, you already have the essence of it. And it's really interesting. But
actually, sometimes, I don't know if it's true or what, but I've been seeing more and more people saying that actually reading, it's so counterintuitive, and it even offended me, because I'm such, not necessarily reading a great book guy, but I'm kind of more and more loving, books and reading more. But they're saying basically, you shouldn't read books. It wastes your time. It's 90% fluff and only 2% essence. Right. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah, but it's right. So I think it's right. If read a book and try to remember like a couple of things. If you get out with, let's say, 5 things, it's already a win.
Yeah. So basically, they're saying like he might have a core contents, the juice, really, the nectar, in maybe like 20 pages, but just to sell, you add like 90 more with stuff that you.
Yeah, indeed. Sometimes having the context brings also a great value, because sometimes you might not understand the essence if you don't have the context.
Exactly. Or maybe targeted reading. Maybe you don't have to start at chapter 1. Maybe I'm working on a specific project and I have something specific that I want to learn about. I'll go to that spot. Yeah. And then I learn about it, I guess. Okay, I even diverted to the structure. Okay, the last segment is basically, I say a word, you reply with one word. So the reply is one word, only one word.
Okay.
The first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that word.
Okay.
Let's go. Artificial intelligence.
Trend.
Okay. Commissions. I know it's random.
Sales.
Money. Okay. SAP.
Giant.
Oh, from an Odoo guy, I was expecting but you acknowledge.
I don't like to, competitors are there to inspire you, we're not there to compete with them, in a way.
That's a good point. Fabien Pinkers.
Visionary.
Leads. Yeah, it's weird like that.
It's complex.
Okay. Complicated relationship.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs.
I already use visionary, but that's next level.
Next level visionary. Key to success.
Focus.
Sébastien Bruyr.
Happy father of 3.
I mean, there couldn't be a better way to end this. Sébastien, thanks a lot. But before that, there's a tradition that I'm trying to build on this podcast and for all the podcasts upcoming. So at the end, you always have a quote from the guest. A quote that's something that he just wants to share with the public, a word of wisdom. It can be a quote. Usually, I'll tell them to say a quote in their native tongue. So for you, I don't know if it's Français or Néerlandais or whatever.
It's French.
And then you can translate that. But
there's one that I love. It's one from Richard Branson, who says, if you don't know something, if someone proposes you something and you don't know how to do it, accept and learn after.
Oh. This was Sébastien Bruyr. Thanks a lot for being
You're
part of
welcome.
the podcast.
Thanks for inviting me.
I wish you all the best, and I hope we'll be able to achieve even much more in the future. Guys, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you share with people you think that might actually enjoy it and like it and learn something from it. Obviously, we're still at the beginning, but trying to build something, trying to reach people. It's hard, but we'll stay consistent, we'll stay motivated, and we'll achieve great things together, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.